Hey everybody, and welcome to our week number 7. We're getting right towards the end here. We're looking this week. We look at the last of the 4Ps, which is entitled promotion, but it's really about messaging what we want to message to our target customer. And with that in mind, we have to think about ways to do that, and again, keeping our target customer in mind. What exactly we want to say. So it's kind of split into two parts, I'm just going to say. So the first part is to think about the actual message itself, why, how, and why we would put it together, what we want to say, the way we want to say it. And then the second part of it is exactly what channels we would use to communicate to our target customer. But we're not going to cover that till next week. Let me explain a little bit about that in relationship to the milestones and the final project. First, let me back up and say that the final project is really a compilation of the milestones you've done so far through class. Not exactly the way you did it, and I'll explain some of that next week, exactly how I want to get it put together. But the good news is you really don't have to write a whole lot more than you've done already, of course, with your revisions, um, before you put the final project together. That's the good news. Um, but make sure you've made those revisions that you can, um, and before we actually turn in the final project. So coming back to this week, we're going to talk about exactly how we would go about uh, talking about our message and how we want to get that across, the types of ways that we can do that. It's the actual structure of the advertising that we would use to make that work, and then kind of how would we measure whether it's really working or not. These can be a little bit tricky in the marketing world because it's not always really exact. But having said that, it's getting more exact as we go along, quite honestly, with all the data that we have available to us and the ways we can measure things. It's becoming much more exact than it ever was in the past. And that is an opportunity for you, future marketers of America, that you can, the more you can actually think about how these things are measured and put into actually acted on. Um, that's the real value you can add to the people who don't really understand those things in marketing today. So we have we're going to talk about the message, how we design it, and whether or not it's effective. And then we're going to think about the supplemental material this week is really geared more towards uh, next week's material, and that is what channels we should use. And then the last thing is we're going to put together our milestone number 4, which I'll put out a separate announcement on, which will be due next week, which is kind of the starting point of our messaging or our promotion design for our marketing plan. And then we'll talk about the channels things, which will just simply be added to the final project that we're going to do, that you're going to submit. So please let me know if you have any questions, um, and give me any kind of questions you have about it. Please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer those. I know we're getting towards the crunch time and getting it all done, so I'll try to get you answers and feedback a little more quickly than I have been doing. Um, so you've got something to work with. All right. Okay. So best of luck doing the work this week, and don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.